All right, on the show now is Brody McDougal, who picked up another win, this time at Cage Titans 54 over Ben Bratko in the second round. Brody, how are you?
Very good, man. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. And you stayed perfect inside of the cage. That moves you to 2-0 as an amateur mixed martial artist now. Another round two finish. What was the game plan going in against Ben, and how happy are you and your team with the result?
Yeah, man. So again, game plan was pretty much exactly what played out. Just staying long, utilizing those leg kicks. You know, anytime you get a guy in that kind of sideways karate stance, it's going to be really hard for them to check leg kicks. So we knew I'd be able to shut his legs down with those. And then again, just kind of staying long, trying to get him to overcommit like he did on the end there. And, you know, when people overcommit, you sting them.
I saw a picture of you. I can't remember if it was on Facebook or Instagram, but it was somewhere on social media, and it was you and a lot of your teammates at Nostos, and you look very big for the division. How tall are you? What is your length like? Do you feel like you're a bigger welterweight than a lot of the other guys that you would face?
I mean, yeah, I think definitely long. You know, I'm 6'2", which I think is, you know, pretty tall for the weight class. You know, not the tallest in the weight class for sure. You know, like even if you look in the pro ranks at like, you know, like Trevor Goody, like he's 6'7", he fights at 170. So I wouldn't say I'm like crazy tall or anything like that. I got a pretty good reach. I think I got like 75-inch reach. So yeah, you know, I would consider myself definitely tall, on the taller, rangier side of 170. But I don't think I'm like a monster for 170 either.
Okay, what do you walk around at typically? How heavy do you get?
Like 195. If I'm being, you know, a bad boy, I might get up to the 200 range. But yeah, no, usually like that, like 190, 195 is kind of my sweet spot. You know, at Nostos, we're really active. We're training all the time, so not a lot of time to, you know, sit around and get fat or anything like that.
Okay, fair enough. Wait, let me ask you this. When you are being a bad boy, what's your vice? Like for me, it's pizza. I can't look at it. Otherwise, I'm too tempted to just go eat a whole pie. But what is it for you?
Yeah, so pizza's a really good one. Definitely, I definitely like pizza. But I would say, if anything, ice cream, man. I love ice cream. Like if there, I don't know what it is. I just love sitting down and just crushing a big bowl of ice cream, watching a movie or whatever. Ice cream's got to be it for me.
Okay, peanut butter cup blizzard at Dairy Queen. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, man.
Okay,
Totally.
I'm with you there. Let's talk about this round two theme of yours, because both of your MMA wins were in the second round, and you had a Muay Thai bout as well, and you ended that in the second round. What is it with you and finishing your opponent in the second round? Is it just you like taking your time, being a little bit more calculated until you get the finish?
I mean, great question, man. I wish I had the answer for you, honestly. You know, despite my best efforts, I haven't been able to get anyone out in round one. But yeah, I think it has to do with kind of my style, you know, again, being a longer rangier guy. I like to counterfight a lot. I'm obviously aggressive too, and I come forward, but I definitely like to, you know, get a read on my opponent and kind of see what they're doing a little bit before I go too crazy. So I think that kind of plays its hand. If you watch my fights, I think a lot of the time, you know, the first at least minute of that round, you know, I'm active, but I'm definitely, you know, taking my measurements at the same time. So I think that kind of plays into it.
Okay, I love that answer. It makes sense. As far as how you got into the sport, tell me your background. Do you have a wrestling background or anything else, or is you just love the sport of MMA and wanted to dive in, and here you are?
Yeah, man. So zero background in any martial art. Never wrestled, never did karate, never did boxing, any Muay Thai, kickboxing, any of that. I played hockey growing up, played hockey in college, just a little D3 school, Anna Maria College in Worcester, Mass. But always just been a hockey guy. You know, obviously when, you know, going through hockey and the junior hockey process in particular, you know, you get tested, you have to step up and, you know, fight on the ice sometimes. So I kind of always knew I had that edge that I needed to in that sense. But yeah, again, like you said, I just really loved the sport growing up. Me and my brothers, I have an older and younger brother. We're all 3 years apart. So, you know, we beat up on each other pretty good, and we loved watching the UFC, and we'd even try and, like, you know, have our own little fake UFC fights at the house where, you know, you go on this side, you go on the other, and we, you know, go in and just rip body shots on each other, whatever, all the other terrible things that my mom hated that we did. But yeah, so that's really where it stemmed from. And then due to COVID, actually, my senior year of college, the gym I would usually train at in the summertime to get prepared for my hockey season was closed. And the only gym that had reopened at that point was Nostos, which just happens to be 8 minutes away from where I live. And so I just called Devin. I was actually in the middle of working a shift. I just called Devin, was like, hey man, if I like come in tonight, would I be able to just train? I'm just a hockey kid. I'm just trying to stay in shape and, you know, be prepared for my hockey season. And he was like, absolutely. Like, I think our crossover training would be super helpful for you, and definitely get me in, you know, the cardiovascular shape I was looking for. And yeah, I mean, I think, but if it was even a week it took, I knew, you know, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow. Okay. I definitely want to dive into Nostos here in a minute. But first, what is your fight record on the ice? Has anybody ever beat you in a fight as a hockey player?
Yeah, man, I'd be lying if I said I was undefeated on the ice. What is nice about MMA is you got weight classes, right? There's no weight classes on the ice, and there's some big boys out there, and you know, they're also there to whoop ass. So yeah, no, I've been cracked pretty good. I wouldn't say I had any like crazy, you know, fight losses in hockey where I got like super beat up or anything. Honestly, thankfully, most of the time it was like the guy I was fighting was so much like bigger than me that it was more just like trying to kind of like hang on and manage his strength type of thing, and ended up being more of like a wrestling match on ice, if anything. But yeah, no, I'd be lying if I came out here and said I was some like big tough guy in hockey, because I wasn't.
But if you were to face whoever that big guy was now, you definitely beat him now, right?
Off the ice, I like my odds for sure now. You know, we got some extra tricks up the sleeve that we didn't have back then. But I will say it's tough on ice, right? You're pretty limited in your weaponry when you're on the ice. You know, you're standing on a little 1/4 inch of steel, and really, you know, you're just kind of grabbing on. If anything, you just, you know, close your eyes and swing hard, man. Just hope to hit them before they hit you.
Yeah, hockey was the one sport I never played. I was basketball and football growing up. But what is your NHL team? Do you have a team? Are you a Bruins guy?
Yeah, I'm definitely a Bruins guy, man. I'm a New England guy, born and raised. I've lived in New Hampshire my entire life, so for sure, bees all the way.
All right. How are they going to be next season? Will they be all right?
Man, we'll see, man. Anytime you have like a new coach and a major change to your organization like that, you know, it's tough to have really super high expectations. And honestly, I'd be lying if I said that this year I was a very good Bruins fan. I'm moved on from the hockey aspect of things. I'm pretty full on into MMA here. I caught a couple of games, but I by no means was a loyal fan this year and really followed along with what they were doing. But I know that they just hired the new coach. I know, you know, there's some questions going on as far as like the Bruins roster for next year. So right now, I would say, to the best of my knowledge, it's going to be just a waiting game to see how it all builds out.
All right. Well, let's talk about your MMA career and Nostos. When you look at how you evolved since you've been there as a fighter, what area or what discipline, you know, have you evolved the most? I'm sure there's one that maybe you weren't quite as good at than when you compare yourself to the others when you first started to now.
Yeah, so I would say wrestling for me has probably been my biggest improvement. You know, coming from having zero wrestling background or, you know, zero experience on the ground at all. I think I came into the gym with by no means a skill set in striking, but you know, I came in, I could throw a punch. You know, could throw a 1-2, for instance, you know, nothing crazy. But on the ground, you know, you're getting slaughtered by everyone when you first walk in there. You know, and again, I was a, you know, big, hard-headed hockey guy. And, you know, I walk in the gym and, you know, first day I'm getting tapped out by dudes that are, you know, 110 pounds or whatever. And, you know, it's a humbling experience, you know? So I would say, like, because I naturally gravitated towards the striking, and I think that was an easier thing for me to kind of develop in my skill set. I've had to put a lot more work into developing my ground game, my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu. You know, I just got my blue belt. So we're learning to be dangerous on the ground as well as on the feet.
who are your main training partners there? Who are you typically sparring the most with?
Yeah, so I mean, that's the craziest thing about it, right, man? Like my main training partner, number one, is Kyle Hill. He's, the other baddest 170er in New England as far as I'm concerned, man. Iron sharpens iron. Getting to train and compete against him every single day. He's going after the NEF 170 belt in a couple weeks here, as you know. I'll be in his corner for it. To have that kind of working relationship with somebody that's at that high level, and a professional relationship with each other too, where if we wanted to, we'd hurt each other every day, you know what I mean? But instead that healthy egos in check with both of us, and we take really good care of each other and just get in really good work, and that allows us, I think, to elevate our game so much higher. Another one, David Burke, obviously absolute animal at 185 pounds. And again, a super high level wrestler. So he's someone that I've been working with a lot lately. Obviously, also Ross Danner. He's my wrestling coach. Very high level wrestler at Exeter. Just had that big win over Mo Kanani in his professional debut. So everyone knows that he can crack too, man. Nate Grimmard, another high level wrestler, man, that I'm working with in there all the time in the room. It's nice, because I got a little bit of size on Nate. It's my only little bit of saving grace, because you guys know he's a beast too at the professional ranks, 2-0. Kyle Pufall, another absolute animal. He's at 155, and RJ Janicek, also a savage at 55. That room, man, I'm telling you, we've been saying it for the last year and a half, and people are really starting to listen now, and seeing what we're doing. That room is insane right now. Just like I said, the healthy egos that are in check. We're not hurting each other, but we're working super hard with each other every day. And there's that, real team atmosphere in there where, if you're having a bad day, the rest of the boys in there are giving you that extra push that you need to, make it through the day. Cause, none of us are going to be winners every day in that room. And you need that,
Yeah, you guys have just a bunch of killers at Nostos. Really, I mean, it's been for a while now, but it's really becoming one of the best gyms as far as talent-wise in all of New England, no doubt about it. What is it like having Devin Powell as the head guy around there? Someone that we've seen at the highest levels in UFC, Bellator. What is that like learning from him?
So I would say, just off what you just said, being in the UFC and Bellator, and him doing it at the highest level, and of just going through that. He just retired 2 years ago. I was training MMA before he even retired from his last Bellator fight. So being so freshly removed as a competitor, I think really puts how am I trying to say it? Gives us the confidence, I should say, in our development, and in listening to the things that he has to say, and knowing that he's been there, he's done it. I can learn and take from this man, and trust that it's going to transfer into the cage for me. And then, I mean, beyond that, just the kind of guy Devin is as a person, like coming from that hockey world previously, and I don't want to talk bad about by any means, but coaching is a lot different in hockey than I've experienced with Devin in MMA. It's a lot rougher. And not that Devin's not hard on us, because Devin's for sure hard on us, and he has really high level expectations. But I think there's a different level of conversation that kind of goes there, and more of an understanding of what we're going through, because he just went through it as a competitor too. That just makes everything more digestible.
Okay, yeah, that's a great answer, man. And I know what is next for you, because when I was talking with Carol Lynn, she told me what you're hoping happens next, and that is Jack Congdon's 170 title. I know that he said after his last fight that he was going to vacate it and turn pro, but when I was talking to someone from Cage Titans, they had mentioned that a matchup with you would actually be really intriguing for him because of your stand-up prowess, and him wanting to test himself there before he turns pro. So that seems like it could potentially be a title fight that they could make next. What do you know about that, and dissect that matchup for me? How do you think you would fare against him?
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the actual matchup coming to any type of fruition, I don't know anything. me and Mike haven't been in really any contact after the fight. He always takes a week off to kind of do his own thing, which I totally get and understand. And I'm in no rush anyway. I'd love to get back in there. And like, I think he mentioned like October 29th. So still a few months away before we would really start worrying about that. But yeah, man, as far as how I see the matchup going, like, I want it because it's a test, right? He's, you know, probably pretty widely considered the #1 welterweight in New England right now. He's a fellow striker and someone that I don't think has been tested in his striking because he hasn't had, you know, somebody like me that's going to stand in front of him and throw down. I think he knows that he would get that out of me. And again, by all means, if he decides to change game plan and he wants to mix it up on the ground, like I said, we're working there too. But I think, you know, that's the draw for him, is to also be able to test himself against somebody that's going to stand toe to toe with him and, you know, throw down in there, and another dude that's his same size as well. As far as how I see the matchup playing out, though, I just genuinely think I'm too quick. I think I really have an edge in the striking on him. You know, there's little intricacies in the striking game that, you know, I know someone that's a fan of the game as much as yourself can really understand. I think in the small little gray areas that define, you know, like a very high level striker, I think I beat him out in those areas.
Okay, well, that would be a matchup that I would love to see. And I believe I'm going to be at that Cage Titans card in late October. So that would be awesome if you guys were matched up for the title. You did mention earlier, Brody, that, you know, this is your future. You've got the MMA bug. You want to take this as far as you can take it, I imagine. So how many amateur fights do you think you're going to have before you turn pro? Is that something that you've discussed with Devin?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, obviously, with me getting in the game a little bit later, you know, like not too late, like I'm only 25 years old right now. And, you know, the trajectory I'm going looks like, you know, I'm developing, you know, pretty quick. But no, that's nothing as far as like, you know, in 3 fights, you're definitely going to go pro or anything like that. I think it's more of just kind of like, we just like to work and kind of go with it, honestly, man. Like we don't set a lot in place for the future. We focus a lot on, like, you know, what's in front of us right now. Obviously Devin understands, you know, my goals and expectations for myself within this sport. And really I just kind of follow the path that he lies for me, and I just show up to work every day.
All right, man. Well, it's definitely great chopping it up with you for the first time. Again, Brody McDougal stays undefeated, beating Ben Bratko at Cage Titans 54. Before I do let you go, my man, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where they can follow you on social media, and if you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so Instagram, my Instagram handle is just at Brody Brody McDougal 21. Apologize for not knowing that exactly. Facebook, just Brody McDougal. Not on TikTok or anything like that. Sorry, guys. To thank my sponsors, mainly Exotics, you know, right up here on the hat, Sneakers Graphics, Premium Firewood Services, my man Jeremy at the gym. He's awesome. He's already always supporting all the boys. Hagen's Motor Pool, another one, Amy Lee's Therapeutic Massage, Elevate Design, and then Bennett Property Development. You know, without all those people, you know, mutually investing in me too and believing in me, I wouldn't be able to get this done either. So got to thank everyone.